Welcome back to the WatchTower Film Podcast, the film review podcast on the Towercast Network. By cinephiles, for cinephiles. Now in VistaVision, or just properly balanced color. Hey, we're back.
Hope you guys didn't notice that.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us on this episode. We're still in that New Year's kind of vibe. It just feels like a fresh set and
It really
fresh
does.
feel.
That's why I went backwards and brought back the beanie.
Yeah,
I like the beanie.
We missed the beanie.
Beanie's good.
Yeah.
Gasso, touch his beanie.
It's part of me.
Thank you for guys tuning in.
Yeah.
And we'd like to continue to encourage everybody to like and subscribe,
Or
comment and
comment.
share.
Unless
Yeah.
you don't want to. We're not pushy.
I am. Do it one of
Pretty
those.
chill.
Do it. It's like a Ben
Do
Stiller.
it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Can you believe these guys haven't seen Starsky and Hutch?
What?
They've never seen Starsky and Hutch.
Dude, the Coke scene is the best.
That's great.
And it's Carmen Electra and
Who's the other girl?
chick?
She's the one from Not Old School, Road Trip.
Oh, what's her name? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good
It's
scene.
great. It's a great film.
Kartsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch. We're going to talk about Starsky and Hutch. No. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah.
Please like and subscribe.
Please.
And we actually got some cool feedback on our Truman Show episode. So thank you guys for checking that out.
Thanks for being a true pal.
By who?
By me. I liked it. Thanks. That's the feedback.
Wow.
No, John Gunn recommended it, and he checked it out, and
Nice.
so thank you for the shout out and
Appreciate
stuff like
it,
that.
John Gunn.
And let a lot of people know about it too. So again, help us get the word out there. That's great.
Yeah, there's some people out there with taste, not like these guys that hated on it.
Pretty ass.
If you ask me,
If you ask me.
I'd like to introduce my fellow co-host,
Ooh.
Mr. Michael De La Ass,
How's it going, guys?
offering
Smelling good,
a
too.
cinematography perspective
Always.
with a beanie.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a camera in there?
It's really funny
Do
because...
you hold a camera back here? You're just like your lenses?
Like-
Is that your lens
He's got
case?
like a toolkit
Oh, man.
back there.
Yeah, like, I want to have, like, the tools all, like, laced
Yeah.
in here. It's like, give me a minute and just shove my hand
I
through.
got you.
No, it's funny. We can't talk about the story quite yet, but I'll say that we bumped into some other filmmakers, and then Carlos was introducing us, and he's like, oh, and he's my DP, and they're like, we knew. I was wearing this
the
beanie. They were just like,
it wasn't this beanie.
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Yeah.
I
You
thought it
got
was
the
like the
look
gray one.
of a DP?
No, I think DPs just were
Yeah,
like,
we figured that.
yeah.
Yeah. Mr. John Eric Ostro offering an acting perspective as well as some other creative
creative perspective.
New DJI drone owner.
DJI, but yeah,
Avada 2, guys. I just got it. Anybody interested in hiring me?
super fun.
Yeah, I got you, bro. I got some tricks
It's
up my
smooth.
sleeve.
Gasso, act.
do the cat.
Take that off, please. Timestamp that.
No. I really like that's your crying reel. I'm like, no, I can cry on command.
It just feels like Johnny Drama and Entourage, like when Eddie Burns tells him, like, all right, let me get some reaction shots. And he's like, all right, do one where you're angry. And he's like, he
Yeah,
gives a
yeah.
reaction. Do one where you're like embarrassed, or like
don't
do
really
one
get
where you're a little bit
embarrassed.
sad, and then he literally.
That's how you got to do it, bro.
Yeah. Great. Mr. Austin Young, make sure we're sounding good on the ones and
I love
twos.
this
Is back
guy.
there, offering a producing, editing perspective. You better cut to your fucking camera.
Show them that stash, bro. That mustache.
Nope.
If I noticed in the cut after that you're not cutting to yourself, I'm gonna start having a courtesy monitor where I see you cut.
Yes. Everybody comment if he didn't put it on himself.
Yeah.
You make it sound like every time you don't cut to yourself, a child dies. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, dude. Someone loses a finger.
Every
out
time you don't cut to yourself, an editor dies.
Yeah, bro.
Your call, man.
Your
Yeah.
call, brother.
More
And
jobs.
He doesn't know that many editors. No, he doesn't know that many editors.
Yeah,
You're like
yeah,
at least
so
fourth in line. Yeah.
He creates more jobs.
I'm your humble film servant, Carlos M. De La Torre, offering a writing direct perspective. Welcome to the WatchTower Film Podcast. We're in Requester Month. We continue
I'm
to be
so sorry.
in Requester
I'm
Month.
so sorry.
Was that just a tag on me because I introduced
No.
myself?
That's
I mean,
3
thought
years
I
of
was-
being
were you
comfortable with each other.
reiterating the frog in the film? Were you
I thought-
emulating?
I thought I was muted and then I heard it in my own
Don't you
ears.
lie,
right.
Craig.
I'm sorry.
You gotta
Damn.
lie, Craig.
Excuse me. I'm
And
sorry.
then for me and I love the audio portion of the podcast, so I'm just gonna be in my car. I'm like, God damn,
Whoa,
oh,
whoa.
jeez. Cars coming loose.
It's going to remind you of the frog in the film. It is Requester Month.
True.
The film we're going to cover today is a favorite amongst. It's like 2 for 2 this year because it's a favorite amongst cinephiles. It's a favorite amongst critics. It's a favorite amongst general audience members. Fucking movie made a lot of money.
On a
talking
$19 million
about-
budget.
We highly respect this writer-director.
2005, Day After Tomorrow, featuring.
Definitely not Day After Tomorrow.
Oh.
Definitely not. We're talking 2006. Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth. And I have my Criterion trilogy of his, so don't pan me for having Pan's Labyrinth inside this. So it's Kronos, Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth inside this beauty.
And just in case.
What? They didn't have a
somebody
Pacific
hasn't
Rim?
watched it.
No, he didn't
Why
have
not?
Pacific Rim.
It was his masterpiece.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
He did Pacific Rim?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did Pacific Rim, the first one.
It's the best one.
Come on, Guillermo. Come on,
better.
buddy. Do better.
What? It's so good.
It's all right.
Look at the angels, man. This is great. I love this Criterion. This Criterion is
Why didn't it have the
awesome.
robot?
That is pretty cool.
No. Pan's Labyrinth. This film was a request from our fellow listener. First time, long time.
First online.
Former special guest.
That sounds like he's never going to come back on the
Yeah.
show. That feels like
Former-
he'll never be back.
I wanted to be
Happened that
like,
got him.
Former personality.
like, is he gonna be a like
the late?
5 guest club or whatever? What do they call it?
The late, but not the late great, because then that sounds like he's dead. So like
The Grateful
how about
Late?
we, friend of the pod,
Okay.
Friend of humanity, really.
friend of humanity.
Or is he? Do they have like a...
No, he hates everybody.
Oh.
Mr. Jose Calvo, a.k.a. or more aptly known as Bones.
Oh, okay.
Bones was the...
So he's not here. So are we?
Crawling in
So
homeless?
we're
Damn
boneless
bone.
today. But we weren't on the Back to the Future episode. If you want to catch that on Trilogy Month, we had him here in the studio and talking about Back to the Future, showing us his cool
True.
Doc Brown signed video game and shit like that.
Memorabilia.
Did you ever get it back?
I never gave it yet
Wow.
because the man has told me to wait. So,
Wow.
I will. And you'll get it back, Bones. He actually just asked me about it, but yeah, he's working on it. He's working
Bones.
on the whole situation. It's a timing thing. Anyways, Bones requested that we do Pan's Labyrinth as part of his list, which he also submitted like 10 films to do. So thank you for those requests.
Great requests.
We're gonna try to work them in as much as possible to our request month, and again, also try to sprinkle them on our themed months throughout the year as far as requests go. So thank you, Bones, for suggesting Pan's Labyrinth. It's one of those things that I'm shocked we haven't done. Our fellow producer, Eric Nunez, who's not here second week in a row, because he's off
The
in
late Eric Nunez.
Don't say that. He's in LA right now.
Oh.
He's on probation, man.
Yeah,
He's
no. Right now is not
missed
the time to
twice.
make that joke.
Yeah. No, he's in LA. He's working out there for a few weeks, but our hearts also go out to everybody in the
Yes,
fires right now in Los
definitely.
Angeles.
It looks pretty bad.
The greater Los Angeles area, wherever you're at, if you've been affected, our heart
safe.
goes out to you. So just be safe. Eric's out there. We've talked to him. He's safe. All of our friends that we've been
Yeah,
speaking
health
to
and
out
safety, yeah.
there have been safe, so that's good.
Good to hear.
But yeah, Eric's out there, fellow producer. He suggested very appropriately that we potentially maybe do Pan's Labyrinth on like a fantasy month.
Yeah.
Or something like that, one of the theme months.
We're
But
worried it would be pandering.
But I like
Comment if
that
you like
we
that.
went this kind of more unorthodox route in a good way. It just feels like this is one of those. I feel like other people are asking too, like, why haven't we covered Pan's Labyrinth? It feels
For
more
sure.
like a requester one than doing something super unique for like fantasy, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we all agreed that we like it for today. I mean, again, this is a director we hold in high regard, and our fellow alumni of the Towercast podcast, Doug Jones, is two of the lead characters in this, and in motion and acting, playing the faun himself and
The girl.
The pale man.
Definitely not the girl,
Oh.
the pale man. But so yeah, we love talking about this film. We love talking about this director, and Doug has actually kept in touch really nicely.
Yeah. Shout out to Doug.
Shout out to Doug Jones. I just spoke to him about when we heard about the Shape of Water Criterion. I reached out to him and said, hey, like, this is awesome. Congrats. This is
Yeah.
big. I love this cover. I love the Criterion cover. And he was like, I didn't even know about this. Thank you for telling me.
Wow.
Yeah, he had no idea about Shape of Water getting a Criterion release. So he was grateful. He's like, thank you. This is awesome and stuff like that. So Austin and I got ours in the mail recently. So that was great. So yeah, fellow friend of the show and of ours, Doug Jones. Shout out because he's in this film and he does amazing in this film. And he had some great stories. So go check out the Doug Jones episode if you haven't. He has great stories from the set of this film. Not just this film, but he was also in Crimson Peak, and he was in Shape of Water, and he had amazing stories about Guillermo del Toro and other things. So go check that out. It's great talking to him.
Yeah.
We'll link the video in the description.
We'll link the video in the description.
Whoa! So you ain't got to look for it.
It's right there. But yeah, we want to talk about Pan's Labyrinth because I'll go as far as saying this. First of all, we had two people present who've never seen it before.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And,
I apologize.
I'll go as far as saying this. I think this is Guillermo del Toro's staple. I think this is his Goodfellas, his Grand Budapest Hotel, his,
For my first watch, I kind of agree.
his Interstellar, I think this is his,
like when you say his name, bam.
Yeah, you think Pan's Labyrinth, right? So I'm glad we're finally talking about this. Other than Shape of Water, have we done any Guillermo films on the pod?
Yes,
Oh my God,
we
yes.
did.
Hellboy? I mean, we talked to...
No,
Hellboy.
we haven't done Hellboy.
No, I don't think we have, right?
Yeah, I think it's just Shape of Water. We've mentioned him a lot because whenever we talk about like Cuarón,
the Three Amigos and-
Three Amigos, like
Who also produced Pan's Labyrinth, by the way. Alfonso Cuarón produced Pan's Labyrinth, which is awesome.
yeah,
This was in that era where they were just producing for each other. And just like getting together, the three of them, and like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What can I help you with?
When
this?
it was still possible, man.
This was when Guillermo del Toro was up to direct Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban, and he basically was like, "Dude, Cuarón, like, convince Cuarón to do it."
Yeah.
Like, he didn't pass him the job or anything. Once he passed, they offered it to Cuarón. Cuarón was like, "I don't want to do this. What the hell am I going to do doing a Harry Potter episode?" And he's like, "No, dude, you got to do Harry Potter. Like, it's great and this and that." So he convinced Cuarón to do it. And again, they were all just tossing each other kind of projects. And
wasn't this one like, didn't he get like 3 other ones before this one, but he wanted this one because it was a passion project?
not only did he get multiple big offers, because he had just got off of Devil's Backbone maybe, or maybe one of the Hellboys. He was getting some heat. He was getting some heat.
I remember I read.
And I think Devil's Backbone is with Tom Hiddleston or...
Devil's Backbone.
It's actually one of the only ones I haven't seen of Del Toro's filmography. Is he had just gotten off Hellboy.
He did Blade.
So again, he's getting some buzz in Hollywood. He's not doing... Yeah.
I feel like
How did he
Hellboy.
go to Pacific Rim? Oh my God. Okay. Go ahead.
It was good.
So again, this is Del Toro cat getting some heat in Hollywood. And doing American films. Although Pan's Labyrinth, that's the great thing about this. The return to Pan's Labyrinth is Pan's Labyrinth. Though it's shot in Spain, though it's in Castellano Spanish, it's a Mexican entry.
It's a Mexican entry?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So don't feel so bad.
More than that, yeah. More than anything, because Del Toro's a director, he wrote and directed, but also for the Academy Awards, this was submitted as Mexico's entry for
that's
Best
interesting.
Foreign Film. At the time, it was foreign film, not Best
And it could have gotten in
International.
either way, no? Or
It didn't get Best Picture nod.
No, yeah.
It didn't get Best Picture nod. It was one of the only ones that got Best Foreign and Best Screenplay.
okay, I can live with that.
So yeah, so it was just one of those things. It got.
No,
I was just said, yeah. It got director, cinematography, art direction,
yeah.
music, makeup, and
Lullaby's pretty
best foreign language film of the year.
It won in makeup,
Makeup, absolutely, man.
direction, and cinematography.
Yeah.
It won in cinematography. What was it up for that year?
Really?
Or what else was up that year?
I think it was beautifully shot.
Oh, it was terrific. It was terrific. But yeah, again, this was Del Toro at his quote unquote. I don't want to say peak, but this was he was killing it.
Yeah, every time I hear his name, this is the movie that they bring up. But I always thought it was a child's
I mean,
film, man. I saw this.
see, that's the thing. Okay, so what was up was Pan's Labyrinth, the Black
Children of Men.
Dahlia, Children of
I know
Men,
you guys are
The
big on that
Illusionist,
one.
and The Prestige.
And The Illusionist, I'm a big guy.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think Pan's Labyrinth is
I
just...
might have picked Children of Men too.
Yeah.
But come on, I mean, it's Chivo being Chivo. It's Chivo just Chivoing out everywhere.
I think that this. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Prestige.
With Guillermo, I mean, I was I feel like the filmography I have seen from him,
Okay.
it feels very similar. It has a very similar tonality, and that's why I remember even for when Nightmare Alley came out, it was like, oh, do you think he's going to get any Oscar love? And I think I said for that year, I don't think
love
so.
Nightmare Alley.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to get any love because it's so close in tonality to what is it called, Shape of Water, and I feel like it was so similar. And it's just because he likes that style. And then seeing his early filmography, I mean, I'm like, oh man, it's just him. And I feel like it's really unique. It's I'll give it all the praise of when he explores fantasy and he explores those personal moments. I think one of you made a joke of the depth of field when we're playing our game, but he genuinely likes to shoot these sharp, wide shots, and really he emphasizes the texture on everything. And then when he does change the color, it really does influence the mood and all that. So I mean, he's a master at choosing shots, and even like we saw in his storyboard, you were showing me, he really does visualize these very elaborate tapestries with the lights and the camera and everything. So I mean, well earned for cinematography. But I always wonder of like, is it too close where next year if he did the same thing, they'd feel like, oh, you're doing this wonderful tapestry, or they're like, no, you already won one.
I wonder
like,
this though. And let me get your take on this because I've been analyzing this a little more.
real quick pause. Austin, can you look up if Shape of Water did win Best Cinematography that year, right? Okay, keep on.
I wonder if, look, I'm willing to bet I can speak for all of us. I haven't revisited Children of Men in a bit.
Same.
And I feel like, I think, especially me and you, we saw Children of Men in our quote unquote formative film years.
I
So it
watched
might
it a
not
couple
be-
of months ago.
Okay.
It's the
and it
whole-
holds up.
No,
but
no, no,
I do
I'm not saying
understand
it's a Walter Mitty situation. I'm saying that like the topic holds up. You know, the crazy kind of whirlwind of this story, but the cinematography, and this Emanuel Lubezki is my favorite cinematographer. You have to understand, I love Chivo. I love his cinematography. In fact, the next film we're covering next week, it was his first DP job. But I wonder if the cinematography was just us lighting up as filmmakers, like, holy shit, you could put a camera in a car and spin it and do. I mean, like, I wonder if we get carried away with that a little bit in our.
I think
he's a-
where this one shines more than Children of Men, because like I said, I watched it recently, is that Children of Men has these incredible angles, an incredible sense of realism, but that's also just like you said, Chivo being Chivo. And with this one, there's a lot of intentionality when it comes to the color palette, the moods, the tones. Like I love all the wide shots in the general's like office, because for there, this like very sharp lighting coming in and very like stern mechanical dictator.
I'm glad you said mechanical because The Office was, and again, this film won an Oscar for art direction. The Office was intended to be modeled after his father's watch. You know, the pocket watch he carries.
Did he ever mention it to his father's watch?
Yeah. Well, yeah. He has a conversation at the dinner table when the guy's like, your father, he wore a watch or whatever, or he carried a watch with him. And he's like, no, he never carried a watch. Like, just to kind of get him off the scent. But he has this pocket watch.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that because I didn't catch that detail. And then at the very end, when he like says,
Tell him what time his father died.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like the watch, it's meant to look like the inside of a clock and the inside of a watch. So if you notice his office,
Oh wow, I'd have to go back.
there's
and see
that
Yeah.
texture of a like a clockmaker, like the gears of a watch
Interesting.
and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's
It's
pretty cool.
again very well earned. I think it's just surprising because
Because it's Children of Men.
No, because his work's so similar. The visuals aren't the same. It's the
thought, and I
tonality.
think I argued with you about this when Nightmare Alley came out. I thought Nightmare Alley was a step in a way different direction, cinematography-wise. I mean, it wasn't just the black and white, and it wasn't just the
Well, we saw it in
darker
black and white.
Yeah.
But
That's
when
what I'm saying. It wasn't just a
I
black
saw
and
it in
white.
color and it looked.
No, but he was going for a noir thing.
for sure.
Make no mistake, Del
Yeah.
Toro's a dark figure, but he doesn't do noir cinematography necessarily. Nightmare Alley, he did.
For sure.
That is a noir film.
I felt like you had sprinkles of noir elements in what is it called?
In Shape of Water?
In Shape of Water
because of
night
the-
scenes.
Well,
Yeah.
because that's what's his face's character, Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
You know, him and the spy, and
Yeah.
there's
But let's,
elements of that.
do you want to get into ratings and then we'll kind of keep splitting hairs?
Sure.
This was
What
obviously.
if we do just a quick fire ratings and then we get into our discussions?
Yeah.
'Cause
Okay.
last week it took us like.
It
Can I read
dragged.
something before we
Yeah.
do?
Sure.
Go for it.
Let me think of my rating. Okay.
Man,
Holy shit! Do we have the same rating?
I think just to everybody remain impartial, Austin just decides. No, because when he decides who goes first, he always picks me.
When do I ever pick you? How about you know what? I go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
Okay. Oh.
I like it too.
No rating 8.9.
So the film at the very top of the film, you know, it tells you about the year 1944 in Spain, and then it says this phrase. This is on the Criterion thing.
Get fucked, nerd.
It says
What?
it's in Latin. It says
What?
Hold on, bro. He's getting
I'm
into
trying,
something.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, right now?
He said, "Get fucked."
I was like, no, get fucked, nerd. I'm like, what? And he's like, it's in Latin. I'm like, oh, sorry.
so. It says in consulis nostris fatum nostrum est, which translates to in our choices lie our fate.
In our choices lie our faith.
You know, and this isn't like Latin text from whatever. You know, this is the Toro's doing. You know, this isn't borrowing from something else necessarily. And I think it's so apt for this film.
have to live
In
with
our
that a little bit.
choices lie our fate. And I want to get into that conversation because I think in that sentiment we can go into our ratings because I think that's so informative. And there's another poem that I was actually reading out loud to the law while I was washing dishes. That's in the book. That's like super apt. But
Why'd
That's
you make
beautiful,
it
man.
sound
Yeah, that's beautiful,
weird?
dude.
well, because I'm like over here like, dude, this is great, and you're like, yeah, buddy, go put it on the fridge or something.
No.
It's just like, I'm
It wasn't.
busy here.
No, but I want you real quick. Let's
got
look at the
4 orders of
scenario.
coffee right now.
Okay, for those of you at home watching, close your eyes. For those of you listening audio and driving, close your eyes. Let's see what happens. Right? No,
Let
but
God take the wheel.
it's because I'm there cleaning the dishes, getting ready for us to do like our coffee that we usually do before the podcast. So I'm
Right.
like there and I'm cleaning the dishes, and he comes up as a Carlos intellectual, just with your scarf and everything, opens a book.
What is it with this scarf? This is the second time.
No,
this
no, no.
fucking
You
guy
just
told you.
Count-
no
Counter.
in the best way possible. You just look so studious. So you just come up to me, and then it's like, in decisions lie man, in man lies the nucleus. And he's like,
The nucleus.
indubitably, and looks at me, and I'm like,
Indubitably.
I'm just watching dishes, sir. I don't know what's going on.
It was just a
You
great
get to see,
moment.
no,
That's really
bro.
funny. I really do.
Watch out.
I was trying to show the audience this fucking Criterion is awesome. They haven't made
Oh,
something
that
like
is
this in a while.
Chronos.
You know,
That
This
is
the
super
Pale
cool.
Man. It's so cool. Anyways, Austin 8.9 actually.
Oh, wow.
I concur.
I concur.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
No,
Just
rapid
curious.
fire. Rapid fire.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We
have
take
to
too
wrap-
long.
Okay, who's next?
Gastro. Fuck, wrong camera. Gastro.
I'll give it a 9.1.
9.1.
Carlos.
This was your first time too.
Yeah, I really, really liked it.
Me.
Much of elements I like about it.
I'll give this a 9.
All right. Bones gave it a 9.7.
9.7.
He
for
really
Bones.
liked it. Okay.
All right, so why the ratings?
Wait.
You
missed one.
Just skipped over.
Did you just hit me with a skip card like in
Yeah.
Uno? It's like what?
Cancel.
All right.
How about you write it
Hello?
down? We guess it.
Explain your rating and then give us your rating.
Okay, when I was just a
young
little
warthog.
A young lad.
a boy,
A young
A young
warthog.
I knew I was not a. No, 9.
Are you saying the number 9 or 9?
9.
No.
9.
I'm saying the numerical value.
Rather than 9, like in the 9, 8.9.
I'd say 9, and because I'm going last, I'm gonna tell everybody why. Because me.
It's got a lot of
Yeah. Anyway,
go
my time to shine.
shine, baby.
Talk directly into your camera.
Hey, America,
Dude, something's happening with
maybe Mexico, Canada.
We do have a lot of people from all over the world, so you can talk like tuning in.
Hi, Botswana. It's me again.
My hand's off the switcher. This is just you and your camera.
This is just you making love with the camera.
Hey, Budapest.
Hey, you sitting right there.
I know I haven't called in a minute, but I want to let you know. I've been thinking
I'm the thinker.
that this film, I think that's why I was surprised about the cinematography.
This is also your first time watching
It's
it. Right?
first time watching it. First time out
I
the
take
gate.
that. No, I don't believe that. Go for it.
First time. But I've seen it a lot. And then also, my dad, I don't know if he had it. They didn't make a VHS for
I'm
this,
sure
right?
they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like he had it.
2006. The DVD was very heavily like this. Had a great DVD, the Platinum Series DVDs.
Yeah, I remember when all like the videos were, or the commercials coming out for like,
Now on DVD,
yeah.
Platinum, yeah. The Platinum DVD was really great, but that's when they were barely adapting. Kind
you
of,
wouldn't download a car.
yeah, VHS into DVD. Yeah, I'm fairly certain if your dad had anything, he probably had the DVD, but
Yeah.
it was still that era of transition. This was when Blockbuster still had both. You know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
Blockbusting, really. Yeah,
That's
What?
Every,
Yeah, I was
that's what
there, man.
every
Yeah.
filmmaker's innuendo should be. I was a blockbusting.
I'm about to
shit out of
block-
this chick. And
I went off.
I'm about to block bust. Give me a minute.
I'm about to block.
Oh, God. Damn it. Okay, fine.
Oh, okay.
Well, my father had it. That's all I was really
DVD.
trying to say before we got into our weird block busting tangent.
Blockbusting.
I'm sorry. My mom said she was going to listen to more of these. Like, no, I remember he had it, and I remember we had some family over like to watch it, and it really moved them. And then I was like, oh, I want to watch the movie about the Labyrinth thingy. And then they were like, no, son, you're not ready. And I was like, oh, why? I like movies.
Shit.
And I never got to watch it. Like, he just forgot to like come back and like finally show me. You know, it's all those like when you're older, son, and then just never happened.
Kinda same
so
thing with me, yeah.
so.
I'm kind of glad you bring that up. Just to hold it there for beat.
Yeah.
Most people did the opposite. This film was, very big in Spain
Yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
naturally, right?
España.
Spain and Mexico, where basically they released it in Spain first, and everybody took their kids to see it because they're like, "Oh, it's a fucking
Puppets.
kids film." And look, and it looks magical, and it looks like this, like looks like the Chronicles of Narnia,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
Del Toro was up to direct before this, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I read too.
And
that one and
again, they're like, all right, we're taking our kiddos to see it.
The
They
Lion.
had to reprint posters in Mexico before the release of the film to say, it's not a fucking kids film. Like, don't bring your kids to this unless you understand that there's violence and blood and gore and
yeah.
And
adult
the
con-
kid
adult conversation.
dies
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah, so everybody thought that. Like, they thought this was a kids film and maybe potentially marketed
It's
as
a rated
kids
R film, right?
Yeah, this film premiered at Cannes,
Yeah, it
by the
is.
way, to 22 minutes of a standing ovation and applause. 22 minutes.
That's more than Wes.
But then again, Joker
No,
2 got the same thing.
Not 22 minutes.
But
2 minutes, maybe. I bring it up because Warner Brothers acquired to distribute.
Okay.
And if it's a major studio trying to get people through the door, they're going to market this for younger audiences, right? So
True.
that happened a lot where kids were
I wanna watch the
encouraged
movie.
to see
That's
it.
insane.
But Dad.
And most of these kids are the ones that are adults that are, hey, this is a good film,
Yeah.
watch it. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
shit,
no,
okay.
and like, so it always had that mystery for me,
Yeah.
and I did get like a tingle when I heard they were gonna watch it because I finally felt like I'm old enough, like I can do it. But like it's interesting. It's really interesting, and you know what? It's what I love about the Toro style, and I've seen his other films. For as mature as they may be, the fantasy element takes you back to that of like a child.
Sure,
And I
absolutely.
love like what he did here. I saw it a lot in like Hellboy 2 and in Shape of Water. These elements of like you open a door and then you're in this next world,
Yeah.
and it's magical and it all feels real and tangible.
If
and,
I as a director, if I could emulate, like, you know how you become more self-aware of your abilities
Yeah.
as a storyteller, and you start
sure.
thinking, what do I want to lean into as a storyteller? What do I want my voice to become? And I'm very comfortable with what my voice is becoming and what I want it to be. But if I could do something, like if I could be anybody as a director, it'd be Del Toro.
Whoa,
Yeah,
Martin
like if
Scorsese's
I
here.
can't tell stories like Del Toro. You know what I'm saying? That's my point. Is like I don't have that quote unquote imagination.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, to build worlds that way, the way
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
And it's not just through his magical realism pieces like this. It's not just through the horror aspects that everybody thinks he's this horror guy. He loves horror, but he's not that. Because people end up figuring out like the Cabinet of Curiosities and the Guillermo del Toro's this and it's stuff he kind of promotes because he loves the genre, but he doesn't consider himself a horror filmmaker solely. He
wouldn't either.
started with Cronos and Devil's Backbone and these darker kind of situations, but I love now his more present films are tackling. They're still quote unquote kind of creature features in a sense,
Yeah.
but they're tackling real human condition stuff, and I respect that a ton. Now I feel like, okay, all right, dude, I can align with you a little more as a storyteller, but the way he builds worlds, I could never.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things like I know myself, and that's cool. I accept it. But God, if I could do anything as a storyteller, I'd want to live inside that guy's brain for a minute. Like it really truly is spectacular.
Yeah.
What he can do in drawing a chalk on the fucking wall and
Yeah.
opening this world. I mean, it's just amazing.
I just feel like when I see other films that especially like are trying to dabble into imagination and all that, I've seen a lot more filmmakers.
It's cheesy. It's
Yeah.
forced. It's
They shoot very conservatively because they're hoping that like I don't got the imagination. I hope the audience now
Yeah.
has the imagination.
or they have the budget to go on the opposite end of the spectrum, and it comes out like fucking Wicked. You know,
Yeah.
it comes out like they go to the other. You know, there's an essay in this book that the guy who wrote the essay writes for
Good golly.
Sight and Sound.
Yeah.
Sight and Sound. And he wrote this beautiful essay about Del Toro and Pan's Labyrinth, and he talks about how people get wrapped up in high fantasy, like Wizard of Oz, Wicked. That's high fantasy.
Yep.
But when you can do low fantasy and make it just magical enough to like get people's attention and interest and thrust them into this world and then keep them for the serious stuff, fucking Del Toro does that better than anybody.
Yeah.
Especially with this one. I mean, like the
And that sounds like an insult, right? Like low fantasy. No, it's just fantasy to a point where you don't need to do all these bells and whistles to fucking...
Yeah.
like the magical elements, he doesn't break away
Yeah.
from reality that much.
Right.
He
Because
stays-
I think what's beautiful about Pan's Labyrinth compared to like other fantasy films is like in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right?
Right.
Like in that one, once they go through, they're in a different world. Like,
Yeah.
and then you are immersed, an audience member, into this
Yeah.
different world. And
That's where I feel like you said to be conservative.
yeah.
They went conservative with that.
Where then everything's CGI and everything's magical and all that kind of stuff. But here, it's kind of like she just has to turn a corner, and he even does it in the. I love the way in the forest he kind of blurs these lines of like, as you're passing a tree, you're going those two perspectives of like the what is it called, the federales or not federales?
No, the fascists.
The fascist and the
rebels.
the guerrilla like rebel crew,
Mm-hmm.
and you're seeing both sides, and it's just this little line that you're bouncing between. But he does the same thing in the fantasy element too.
Mm-hmm.
That one turn of a corner and you're in the real world, and the other turn of a corner you're in her this fantasy that she's going through these challenges, and then when she comes out she's dirty, but like when she's dirty she's genuinely like
Dirty.
oh, you just played in the mud. But when she talks, you're like, wait a minute, like, is it real? Like, did she discover something that's real? And they're like, no, you're imagining things, and
And
it's
that's
always
great
dabbling on that
because-
line.
Well,
and you're
then on the character front, the parents, she's a kid. She's not afraid to tell. Dear God, that's horrible.
My God, that's right now. Holy shit.
that's wait, that's
You gotta put that up on the screen, by the way.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he just turns. Speaking of dark
Yeah.
images, Hollywood's on fire.
Literally, the Hollywood sign is on fire.
I didn't
Yeah,
realize
it's
it
'cause
was.
once Damien, shout out Damien. Once he told me Runyon Canyon.
That's right.
Runyon Canyon's right there, dude.
Really?
Like, off to this side.
Head just sent us
Runyon
this picture.
Canyon is where the Griffith Observatory is.
Okay.
That's Runyon Canyon.
Oh man!
So it's right there.
Wow,
Dear God.
that's so
Well,
sad.
hopefully everybody's okay.
Yeah, Head just sent it to us. So I was like, I gotta show these guys.
It's kind of weird that the Hollywood sign is clean.
Not on fire?
Yeah. Like
Well, it's metal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you it has like some certain paint.
They
that's-
they updated it. Like I
Yeah.
forgot when, but it used to be made of wood.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the same Hollywood sign from the.
No, yeah, I'm pretty
30s
sure.
and
Yeah, but it
shit.
just looks weird that it's not on fire.
Fun fact: somebody jumped off the H and became famous because of it. Penny Entwistle. She was an actress.
And that's why they can't go to the Hollywood sign anymore.
She had a suicide note on her person when she jumped.
What did it say?
That's they weren't casting her. The industry
Oh,
hated her.
man, that's a good story.
it's
She
pretty
jumped
great.
off
That's a good-
the H.
She jumped off the H.
Did she die?
Yeah.
I think that. Did
my
you ever
God.
play Ellie Nori?
L.A. Noir. Yeah.
Isn't that one of the
Might
cases?
be.
Yeah.
There's a show called Hollywood. It's a musical kind of show on Netflix by Ryan Murphy. Ryan Murphy's very famous for musicals and shit. Shows specifically. He did like Glee, stuff like that. He's getting very talented as a director. He did a show called Hollywood, and one of the lead characters is modeled after her, but she lives. She fights the industry.
Oh, okay.
But her name was Peg Entwistle. Peggy Entwistle or something like that.
Oh man.
Yeah, she jumped off the H.
Hollywood could get
How
to.
about we cut this part out?
No, because we're talking about dark topics and bringing light to something. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyways, that was your experience going through this for the first time.
Yeah, I love this dabbling between reality
Blurring
and fantasy. And I mean, it doesn't come to an apex until the very end when she's talking to the fawn in the middle of this labyrinth, and he sees her, and then you see that the
Talking to
fawn's
nobody.
not real, but to her it's real,
Yeah.
and it's this beautiful moment.
And that's what I was going to point to is that the adults in this film are constantly discouraging her from exploring her.
That's why at the last scene when she has the baby and the captain comes in, that's the first thing I was like, is he looking at the creature or is he just looking at her? Because
with the baby.
in her mind.
Yeah.
She just looks at her. So I'm like,
Yeah, and it's great. It really is great, and it's also a commentary on what is actually real
Yeah,
to children
the blend,
and adults fighting their own battles who don't. I don't have time for this. I
That
have
is
real
one of the
problems,
best
but these are
elements
their
about
real
this film,
problems,
yeah.
and that's kind of the beauty of this film.
No, and I mean,
And he does blur the lines extremely well.
I also love this the way the world plays into itself, like the whole challenge of like you have to go into this room and what does he say? Like you have to turn the key and grab this thing for me, but remember you can't eat anything, and that's part of the challenge. And it's like the fun challenge of like, well, she was punished and they're gonna send her to bed without supper.
She has to
But
process that.
Yeah, and how is she going to process that other than
Creating a fantasy world for
yeah.
sure where this isn't a punishment but a challenge and an
yeah,
adventure.
and what's sad is that though she dies at the end, she feels like her last kind of thought before she dies is I won the award.
I
like
became a prince
I
of this
did.
was
I went all the way up and became a prince, and I'll be with my mom, my father, and all that
again,
kind
man,
of stuff.
it's
And
this commentary on maturity at her level and her age. She was 11, and sacrifice and again becoming mature of like, no, I don't want my kid brother to die because of your cause, but I'll surely like give my life for it, and that type of thing. And it's pretty beautiful interpretation.
did she ever do anything big? I'm trying to.
Maybe
think
not
of
here.
She did like most recently. I saw she was in a film called
She's good. I just don't recognize her.
Well, she's also probably a Spanish actress. She's probably very famous in Spain, right?
Yeah, she
Very
looks like
true.
she's doing
She
stuff.
did she did an American film recently though, Black Friday. That was pretty big here. Again with the horror kind of in the horror scope.
Yeah, I do remember.
Black
that.
Friday. She did that recently. She was like the second lead on that.
Yeah, she looks like she's still.
You realize she's a year older than us?
Look who's in Black Friday.
Where am
Hey,
Michael J. White.
Ash.
I? Oh, there you go.
Ash who?
Isn't Bruce Campbell?
Oh yeah, it
Oh,
is Bruce
damn.
Campbell. Ash from Evil Dead.
Yeah, I was like,
Or from Evil Dead.
Evil
Wow.
Dead, Evil versus Dead. Yeah.
What a crazy movie.
Anyways, yeah, we see her as this little girl. She's our age. Like quite literally. She's from 94.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I couldn't watch this,
So we were her age when we were watching this film as kids. Crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Who wants to go next?
I can go next. You know?
Yeah. It's first time.
First time, long time. Like you said, man, I'm a big fan of like when directors could blend like historical elements with with these fantasy and then create a whole universe with it. I think Guillermo did a great job with this one. I mean, these characters that he created, man, you get this girl that's an innocence, like it's the depiction of innocence, and then you got the captain who's the complete opposite, right? You got
the depiction of evil.
Yeah, and then also with like the real elements of fascism, right? It's cold. Authoritarian. It's the characters are complex enough that I love it.
Yeah.
Visually stunning. I don't know the law.
You don't know him? He's right here. He's a DP.
No, I
He's
don't
a
know
really good dude.
why he's saying that. It's kind of like it's Guillermo's thing, but to me it's like that auteur, right? Like I know that you guys are saying like, oh well, you gotta.
I think you both are saying the same thing.
You gotta, but you gotta be different, in each one. Like
Not necessarily.
No,
not
like-
necessarily.
Yeah, well,
You still have your what do they call them? Not your staples, but your trademarks. You have your trademarks as a director.
So what were you really saying about like? Did you want? Because
Dune 1 for cinematography, right?
Right.
You're not gonna see Dune 2, I think, win for cinematography again because it's a copy and paste on that style.
Okay.
So it's already shown what it can be, and that's great. But I don't think the Academy votes and says, "Oh, it's still great," and we're gonna vote for it again unless everything else kind of
Let me
dies
ask
down.
you this.
That's good.
Do you feel like, and I know that you see a progression, a line, a through line of the Toro's work, this to Shape of Water to whatever, right?
Yeah.
You see that visual tonality and through line. He stopped working with this DP,
Oh wow.
I think in Pacific Rim.
Oh well.
No, I mean I'm not saying that's why. I'm just
No,
saying
no.
if it's still maintaining, then it really was Del Toro's look and not a cinematography or cinematographer's choice.
And that's why even when I was talking about the set design and everything and the way that they draw it out, like I mean, this is really his style and perspective and everything like that. And you see it
again. That's why I say you're saying same things as an auteur.
Yeah.
That's what an auteur is. An auteur can have his trademarks, whether it's through visual elements or set design or dialogue or whatever.
That's why at first, I felt like when I saw like Shape of Water and then I saw what is it called, Nightmare Alley. I was like, oh well, we already saw this style. So why? How would this one beat out
What's impressive too
cinematography?
is that he can minimally do it with IP.
Okay.
Blade and Hellboy feel like superhero films.
Yeah.
But they have those undertones of Del Toro.
Yeah,
in
the
them.
wide shots, the nighttime, the way he
Nighttime
uses
for
those
sure.
the same type of
That's
blues
hard to do,
and all
man.
that.
Like to have IP and not make it feel like the IP.
I know, my bad. I'm gonna have to change it a little bit. Did you know that Nope? They shot the night scenes.
Yeah, they shot
during
day for
the
night.
day?
Yeah, it was
shot day for
groundbreaking
night.
because
Did
they
you like
used-
it? Because I kind of noticed the weirdness of it when I first saw it, not knowing this.
Oh yeah, but they because
Isn't that,
they
like, cheating?
shot they shot like 3 cameras,
Yeah,
one infrared, one exposed for the daytime, and then overlapped them. But what I think is great is that again when
Just for DPs, yeah.
yeah no when I think when you're talking about cinematography and you're talking about like how do we capture a moment, a scene,
Whoa.
and when we look at like nighttime stuff, I'll parallel it with this film.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
When we look at nighttime stuff here, nighttime is blue. It's this cold blue, and that's not natural. I mean, naturally, like if you go outside and it's dark, it's just gonna look like kind of pitch black. But here it's like blue. It's cold. It's moody. So that's what he wants. I think what Jordan Peele
on? What camera? This is an IMAX camera, no?
with
Yeah.
They shot
for
Nope
sure.
on IMAX cameras, right?
yeah with Nope.
IMAX film cameras or IMAX digital?
I think they did digital.
No.
No.
Panavision digital.
Yeah. No. Fuck, man, I was seeing this because they were shooting one.
I ask because it also has a lot to do with like,
I didn't like it.
well, it has a lot to do with
I noticed
film,
it.
right?
I know there was something weird about that.
no.
It's more realistic if you ask
You get
me.
more detail, but it was just
To me it's more realistic because like
Wow.
It's because when we're talking about
Panavision 65.
65 mil.
Oh, okay.
So film. That's the thing. when they were developing the Viper camera, and we saw this on side by side.
Okay.
The film Collateral, Michael Mann's Collateral.
Yeah.
That was the first time you could shoot night for night, like shoot night properly, where you see the hues of the city lights, where you see
really
the
like that
greens and
film.
the blues in the sky, not black, because that's not what you see at night. You don't see black. You see hues of blue, especially if you're next to a city. You see hues of green. You see those. So the
True.
Viper, a digital camera, was able to capture that. A film camera couldn't. Naturally, it couldn't.
Yeah.
So to shoot day for night for this natural intention of these blue gray hues at night as
exactly.
opposed to black.
And more important than the hues, if you ever go out
I'm
to
so
like,
fascinated with
if
this.
you go out to like ranch land or like any type of like desert away from the
Starlight.
city, and you're just on starlight on a full moon, you'll notice that texture of like, I can kind of see everything. Like the moonlight naturally,
Yeah.
It gets this very flat tone texture that's very similar to daylight because the single source coming down very small. It's just super dim. So when they shot infrared and you're shooting again day for night, just the moon acts the same way as daylight.
Yeah.
Single source up in the sky.
sure.
The shadows are sharp and everything like that. So when I look at it,
Interesting.
I'm
Not
thinking
just that, but that's how science works. That's how our world works. The sun doesn't go away ever. I mean, our Earth rotates. Our planet is one big film experiment on how to diffuse and control light and where light is at what position and what time and stuff like that.
That's time
so
step.
the blue is just, we have a blue sky.
Right.
That blue sky doesn't go away for 24 hours. It's 12 hour here, 12 hour there. It always exists. The blue hue always exists.
It does.
The atmospheric blue hue always exists
It does.
in our
Yeah.
atmosphere.
But it's a good thing to bring up because that's also where you see the auteur ship and stuff like Del Toro's work compared
Yeah.
to other people's work.
True.
His work, it's super colorful. You get that here. And again, the night shots, you could shoot it any way. I've worked on some like shorts, and when they're shooting like night stuff, I have to ask them like, well, what are you going for? Like, are you going for, does this feel like it's just nighttime, it's dark outside? Or is it, do you want just like a soft blue layering on everything? Just to kind of, again, it also helps the audience because if you see like a blue light coming through the window, you can, that tells the audience, oh, it's nighttime outside. Even though naturally I don't get these
Exactly.
punchy blue that comes through. But you also see a lot of like horror films and all that that'll use this super saturated blue. And it's cool. It's like a stylistic texture thing. And I mean, that's where here, he has his hues that he enjoys because to him, it's not only nighttime, it's also cold. It's also this... the outside world feels unsafe. And when you listen to the dialogue of the little girl and the mom, it's like, oh, what's wrong with the house? And it's like, oh no, that's just the house creaking and breathing. And the warmth is coming from the fireplace and it's illuminating them. And it has this nice warmth of each other moment, but cold outside.
And
so,
you also only ever really get warmth when her escapism comes into play.
yeah.
Like, think about the Pellman's home. It's warm. It's red.
True.
It's her escaping.
You can see her
world.
skin tones really, really well.
But when she's in her house that she hates and this place she doesn't like, but when she's near the Maribel Verdú character, there's warmth, there's comfort, there's those aspects. That I think plays a lot into the visual storytelling.
Yeah, I remember this guy does it with more style. I'm not saying anything to Jordan Peele, but I just didn't like the way he did it. I think this one was a little bit more grounded, more real.
Something like that is also very.
It just felt.
It's a new
too
technology.
digital.
No,
Oh,
it's a
that's
new
bad-
It is,
technology.
it is.
Like
That's a bad word, but-
kind of like the side by side. When digital was first coming in, it just had its own quirks. They even said like. It's capturing colors in a weird way that's not the same as film. Film we've kind of perfected and all that. Infrared's the same way.
You can only get to. But that's the thing, though. That's what's interesting. That's what I like about Jordan Peele and Nolan right now, is that they're using 65 millimeter, 70 millimeter large format film cameras, but they're developing the technology of the camera itself, the mechanics, the lenses.
Yeah.
They're getting vintage lenses and rehousing them.
Yeah.
To fit these fucking IMAX cameras that are brand spanking new, and Panasonic is doing a lot of the electronics, and Sony's doing a lot of the electronics. So they're blending the two in a way. You're still shooting on large format celluloid through almost digital cameras. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you can do that because it's like in the documentary. George Lucas saying, we're at the top of the photochemical process. This is as far as we can take it.
I've seen
He's
that.
not wrong about film and the photochemical process, but if you can develop the tools further, the camera itself, the lenses, the body,
Agree.
you could blend these two worlds finally in a really nice way. And I do think that's what Nope was like trying to.
Okay, I'll see it from that perspective.
Because even Oppenheimer was shot in 65.
Yeah.
IMAX. They shot a lot of night in that film.
I'm trying to remember the night scenes.
I mean, even the
But
explosion.
I don't really remember them, so that one I guess was tasteful because Nope was a little too.
Well, and a lot of it was in black and white too, but
Yeah.
that's besides the point.
Yeah.
I love that they're doing that.
I think it's also whenever you introduce new technology, it's almost like when they're coming out with these like 8K and 12K cameras.
Yeah.
Right now, the conversation is like, no monitor is going to be showing like general audience like these images. But then there's the question of like, but then now that we know we can do this, what should we do with this? And that's where the
what's
whole
mind-boggling to me? They just released a camera that Christopher Nolan is going to use because he's been working on this camera.
that big fucking film with all
That
the.
big motherfucker, but for the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Have you seen the monitor on that thing? It's this big. It's this big. The viewfinder monitor on the camera.
Okay.
Hey, that's really big, man.
Not
and in
the
some
viewfinder.
countries, it's too much monitor.
It's the first IMAX camera with a viewfinder,
Oh,
by the
okay.
way.
Yeah, true. Okay.
But the fucking monitor on the screen on the camera is
Why do you
this
think
big.
that
I
is?
have no fucking idea. It
Because that's
bugs
for
the
like
hell out of
this,
me.
but then the monitor
The
should be a little
monitor's
bit.
this big. I mean, they production monitors
Right,
for whatever
right.
video.
Wait,
games.
how big's the camera?
Show them the camera. It's this huge, this monster of a thing with a viewfinder smaller than my phone, like half of my phone. It's this big.
So
I have no idea what the point of it. I don't understand the utility in this.
But don't most of them use the viewfinder like the?
Well, sure, cam ops or cinematographers are using the viewfinder, but
yeah, you still need.
and they didn't have viewfinders on IMAX cameras before this, or for like 20 years they haven't had on large format cameras. But look, let's see if they show them the viewfinder, the monitor. It's tiny, man. I don't know. It's just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
I feel you.
understand the point of it.
I feel you, man. Sometimes with technology, I'm like, it was almost perfect.
I also
Anyways, while he finds that,
Yeah, no, my bad.
No, but like with these new technologies, I think a lot of times there's two perspectives. One is like, even with like new cameras and everything coming out, the reason you don't see every production going with the latest and greatest camera and all that is because everything is just a tool, and everybody's going to have their preference on like what's the right tool for the right job. You know, you don't need the highest resolution for your films. This thing, I don't. They shot it on film, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, the
Pan's Labyrinth.
yes,
Yeah, like
35 millimeter.
but we're already starting to develop the technology for digital. That could have been a better workflow and all that.
And I feel like guys like Del Toro knew that when the technology was peaking, they understood that it was going to get better. But guys like Rodriguez and Lucas were like, we're going to max this shit out. Even if it looks bad, we're going to max it out. Del Toro was like, no, I'm going to use it subtly while it's still bad so that it doesn't look bad in the film. You know, so all the digital kind of aspects of this. I mean, he's a practical guy. To
Yeah, I was
begin
gonna
with.
say this one's
most
very-
of it is practical, but like I'm only gonna use it on explosions and gunshots and certain situations, just so that I'm basically just filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
With digital until it gets better.
Yeah. Okay, I see
And
what you're saying.
That's the smartest thing you could do.
And I think like they should be respected as tools. I think too many people get obsessive over like what were we shot like what is this shot with, what is that shot with, and I've learned that it's if you're asking the questions about what's the little tiny tools that were used to do X, Y, and Z, and not asking like what is the image and like what is this image communicating, then you're having the wrong conversation as a DP for visuals. And I think it's easy to get caught up in this, but it's great that there's people that do, because you see like Black Magic that they're releasing their Ursa 17K.
Yeah.
But they're like, we're putting all of our like
knowledge
Oh,
and
we just
power.
talked about Arri, right? Also, Arri's doing a large format 70 millimeter digital camera.
Whoa.
Oh, and
And then they're not going to sell it, by the way, either. You can only rent it, and then they haven't even released that information yet.
yeah.
Large format Arri 70 millimeter camera. You know how fucking awesome that
Oh,
is?
yeah. I'm learning about cameras, man. I'm shit.
They're just these. It's great that people are pushing the medium forward in that way, because then you're gonna encounter moments and times where then it will be the right tool
Yeah.
and the right job for it.
That's a good way to
I
And
do it.
you'll
think the
be able
best
to
filmmakers understand that. I think the best my favorite filmmakers, who I deem the best filmmakers, understand that it's a big ass tool shed, and you should use the tools for whatever your film requires, not the biggest and baddest.
Yeah.
You don't need the riding lawnmower when your lawn is 30 feet deep or whatever. Like, you need, you know what I'm saying? You get the tool that you need. Just because you have the riding lawnmower doesn't mean you need to use it. You can get the weed whacker or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can
I always think of what's that guy's name from? I forgot. We interviewed him, Alejandro, whatever, Montoya, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
When he did the Robert Rodriguez, when he only had a budget and he only got lights. I forgot what he got, but it was like what he only needed was the lights, a good camera, like a lens or something. But I always think of it like, I come after doing 4 years of this podcast. I used to hate lighting. Now I'm a big lighting guy because of this guy. But
it's true. I think, and then again, I think a lot of that mentality comes from indie guys.
Yeah, like
the
that
indie mentalities. And Rodriguez, again, I just always wanted to push the medium forwards, and he's still has the efficiency kind of gear in him, but he wants to max out the digital front, right?
Yeah.
But I think the indie front of us, every filmmaker, whether they'd like to admit it or not, was indie at some point. Every filmmaker.
Yeah.
So they understand, like, what tools do I have at my disposal.
I always remember that.
Just because you have access to the big tools, the big toys, I think that the guys who deserve to do that are the guys that are trying to develop the technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The James Camerons, the Christopher Nolans, those guys, the Jordan Peels, they're trying to, how much better can we make this thing? I'm going to fuck around on my film to find out.
Yeah.
Not everybody needs to do that.
I think
everybody needs
I
to
think
do
as
that.
filmmakers, you also get to a point where for a while you're like, I'm just gonna work with what I have. If all I have is like a shoe and a
can lights.
if all I have is like a shoe and a rug, and I need a steady cam shot, I'll just figure out how to put my camera on this shoe and. Yeah, or you'll do those things, and then you get to a point where you finally have access to more of those tools.
Yeah.
And I think people get really excited, and then you'll grab too many tools and think like, oh, okay, now that I have all the tools, I can finally do my perfect vision. And then you start realizing then you can kind of pull back, and you can be like, what do I really need? What does this do? You know?
And if cinema is a canvas, or a film, a blank film, is a canvas. And you know what paintbrushes and what colors you need and what color palette you need.
Simplifying it. That's perfect.
But Castro, you were talking about this being your first time, and you said something during this, like right after we finished the film, where you were like, "Oh, you don't understand. This is my kind of film." What made you say that? What makes you think that?
Because first of all, I don't like happy endings, and I know you said that it was kind of like a bittersweet ending, but I like how real it is, where.
She died.
Yeah, not only the element that she died, right? But
but the gun killed her.
you don't see that. You don't see that in every movie. And
Sure. He takes risks.
Very picky
You
on
know how
that.
we talked about last episode about taking risks? That's what you do. You take risks.
Exactly. So in this one, I think he took a lot of risk instead of going, somehow the girl survives.
It's a child.
Exactly.
And the child's precious, and they're just using their imagination.
And she is, and that's the point.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And that's the point of losing her. This losing innocence and losing. I mean, it's great.
Exactly. That's why I said that's my type of film, where it's these complex characters. It's not, it's not all going to come back in a circle. It's like, no. Sometimes people just get shot. I love it.
I dig it. Do you have anything to say about like why you rated it the way you rated it thus far? It's always very monumental when Austin is going to give his opinion, because we have
put,
to
like, a
sit
song
here
or
and wait,
something.
and the audience is on there like,
Dun, dun,
oh,
dun.
shit. Like he's getting ready to say something. It feels like what's his name in Power Rangers? The fucking big guy
when
that
he finally
like gives the
transformed?
orders, Zorg or Zerg, or what's his name? Morph or Murph?
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kind of embarrassed.
I
to watch
forget.
Power
Bones is
Rangers
gonna
when
kill
I'm
me
done.
because him and my brother love Power Rangers, and I'm
Or
sure he's
whatever.
yelling at me. It's this, you idiot. But
brother
that's
used to
who
smack me
Austin
for
is.
watching
This is where it's like they activate the button. And he's like, "All right, Power Rangers. This is my opinion on the film."
Like, man, she may have sucked 36 dicks, but not every girl makes you lasagna.
You want to hold up the? I assure you, we're
That's the
opposite.
line,
It
isn't
is
it?
the line, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you almost got it verbatim. Most of them just cheat on you. That's what he said.
Yeah,
next.
mostly. I'm gonna look this up now. Hold on.
It's a line from Clerks.
The first one?
Yeah.
I can try to remember it.
I just like the moment when he screams out the door like,
You know, there's a million fine-looking women in the world, dude. But they don't all bring you lasagna at work.
Most of them just cheat on you.
Yeah,
"Wow."
That's good.
it's because you're saying I rarely talk. So.
I was just gonna say from Clerks, the main line that I like is when the girl storms out. And he's like, "I hope you don't suck any dicks on your way to school." And then the guy
Oh, no,
who's
suck any
about to
dicks
enter
in the
in like
parking
turns
lot.
around,
Yeah.
yeah. And then he's like, "Hey, you get back here!" Like, what the fuck? Like, Clerks.
But
So
anyway,
Austin,
Why have we never covered Clerks?
we're going to Austin.
Yeah.
What did you think of the editing? Was there any highlights? What did you think of the film overall?
an 8.9.
Why do you say it like that?
No, I'm trying to see where the 1.1 was left over.
1.1. That would put him at a 9.1.
No, it wouldn't. Jackass.
No. 10.1.
Jesus.
No,
1.1 plus 8.9.
it's 10.
You just add the 1.
Do the math
make
in
it
your
a
head
9.
really quick. Do the math.
The point 1,
Well, wait.
you add it, and it's a 9, and then you just add the whole 1, and it's a 10.
Wait. Okay,
This
now,
is why
now
when
my
I
thinking.
ask for a 35 millimeter and you bring me a 50, this is where it goes
That's
wrong,
why you
right?
spend like $300 on a fucking...
You know what's worse is that I can't do this quick math, and they're like, "Oh, that's why he doesn't like knowing what gear he's using. That's why he likes just shooting
Go with the
whatever."
flow.
Yeah, just. Oh, is that a potato? I can make a film out of that. Yeah.
No, but basically what I'm asking is like, where do you
I've
think
made
they kinda-
films with less, bro. Hurry up.
What was the question?
Just thoughts.
Did you like the fantasy of the film? Did you like the...
Gastos, always position asks.
Did you get lost in
what
the sauce?
was missing for you to give this thing
Yeah.
a 10, right? Like,
It was a good story.
just good, not great?
Great topic. Or I guess great story, great world building, but didn't break anything cinematic wise to blow my mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like a good Del Toro film.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think just with my rating, I'm starting to be more reserved to get it above the
Saying
9.
that's how, yeah.
It needs to almost blow my mind, literally.
Yeah, because I wanted to give it like a 9.4 because I really liked it, but I was like, hold on now.
I'm the same, but I'm comfortable giving it a 9. I'm comfortable staying at a 9 with this because
Because Del Toro's a good story.
Yeah, all the merit in the world is there, and it just feels like, yep,
I'm
it's
really-
Del Toro. It's there.
I'm realizing
it's
that now.
right there. A 9 feels apt. I understand being conservative too, but because you're right. This film, even when I watched it the first time, didn't oh my god! I'm probably Shape of Water did that for me, or
baby die?
even Nightmare Alley. But it's still an amazing film. It's still a terrific
shocked me
fucking
how
picture.
rated R was, how you said.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought it's like, that's cool.
You know what? I'm gonna read something in connection to that. That kind of I don't know, validates my rating for me a little bit.
I love it.
If you haven't read this essay, read this essay. I'm sure you can find it online. It's in the Criterion book that came with the Criterion, but it's called The Heart of the Maze,
The Heart of the Maze.
and it's by Michael.
Bauman?
Definitely not Michael Bauman. It's written in script, so I can't read his last name, but I think it's at the end of the article.
Dude, it's weird. People can't really hear you.
You mute me?
No, because you know.
Oh, sorry. Michael Atkinson. He writes regularly for Sight and Sound and The Village Voice. So, anyways, he starts out his article with this, and I love it. He says, "Is it risking a universal eye roll to begin with a splash of yeets? Maybe. But let's do it. From the Stolen Child." It's a poem. It says, "Come away, O human child, to the waiters in the wild, with a fairy hand in hand, for the world's more full of weeping than you can understand." And I think that's my takeaway from this film in general, is sure, this child died, as you've mentioned 4 times in this podcast already.
Child died.
The child died. She died, but
Spoilers.
She got capped, bro.
you're watching the podcast. Go watch the film before you watch the podcast. We know this rule.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what you can do? I saw a YouTuber do it. That in the audios, you can upload one audio that if you put like English or something like that with subtitles or I forgot which one it is, but you can make a channel where you just bleep out moments and then say, oh, or if you can handle it, just put regular English.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. It's funny. Well, you know what it was? Real quick tangent. Like, it's because there was a coffee reviewer, James Hoffman, and he's like, oh, if you switch this to English US, I muted the slurps, but if you're cool, you can hang. And he like starts slurping a bunch of coffee, but he made an audio where it's muted.
What I've seen is podcasts are now starting new YouTube channels in Spanish and using AI for it to be completely in Spanish.
You know what I've used the AI for?
It's getting freaky.
For
it is. Do I hate
closed captioning in Premiere? It's pretty fucking good.
It's getting really good,
It's
bro.
really good.
I still use AI to look up pictures of dogs.
Why?
You got that dog in you.
Dog.
Why?
What kind of dog are you looking for?
Ones with hats.
Bro. Just look in the mirror, bro.
Anyways, this beautiful poem that
It's
I'm trying
really
to
good.
connect to
No,
the fucking film.
No, get back to it.
That hit me, bro. I was like,
Bring it
whoa.
on back.
Again, this takeaway
More
for me
weeps
is
than tears or
this
something?
beautiful situation of what this film is about, this bittersweetness period. You know, where she's going through these challenges in her life. She's going through change. Her father just died. Her mom got remarried to a fascist.
Fuck. Yeah.
She's in the middle of a war zone. She's seeing blood being spilled in her front yard, quite literally. And she has to find a way to deal with this. Her mom's dying because of a pregnancy, and she has to find a way. And it's one of those things, like the mandrake thing, right? Like putting a mandrake in a bowl. And that's where her magic. And at first you're like, oh my gosh, there's a magical realism. Of course, it cured her mom. That's what a child is going to think. Like, I came up with this cure, Mom. Did it cure you? Because I don't want you to die. I mean, it's how she's dealing with it. And again, if this pure soul had to die so that she doesn't experience the shittiness of the world, okay. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to accept for this child to live a happy afterlife, to accept that she's going with her mother. I just didn't understand why the baby was with the mom in the afterlife.
No, what?
What's the baby with the mom? The baby was in the mom's hands.
Oh, because it's just this idea of like what she's imagining. Like I think that's all it was. Is that she's imagining that she completed the challenge, so now her whole family can be together and all that kind of stuff.
I don't want to accept that because then that means that it wasn't real.
It wasn't real.
It wasn't real.
She died.
No. Yes.
Fuck you. You're not
real. On a
real.
very human level. On a very that man is not real. What's the thing that Jason always says?
That motherfucker right there is not real.
That's fine.
That's the go there.
It's true. It's what the grounded reality of this.
Right.
Okay,
But
then
not for her.
How else would you justify the baby then?
I can't. That's my point.
Well, there you go.
I'd rather the baby not be there.
It's because that's her brother.
Yeah.
I know
And then
that's
plus,
her brother.
the brother, as she mentioned, like she was like, oh, and if you can like, I forgot what she says, but like if you can come out and all that, like and take care of us, like I'll make you a prince or you'll be a prince. So I think that's her whole thing. She finally became a princess. Brother's a prince. Golden Tower. Hellboy. It all connects.
A lot of people say that the Toro's films take place in the same universe. And the Toro actually confirmed that Pan's Labyrinth is an informal sequel to The Devil's Backbone. And there's an unofficial, quote-unquote, trilogy of the Spanish War.
Oh, I would like
The Spanish Civil War.
I love that.
So The Devil's Backbone, Pan's Labyrinth, and he's supposedly going to be making a third in his career at some point that connects this trilogy.
Really?
So,
Go back to your roots, baby.
Golden Tower.
Hellboy.
No.
Anyways, again, I like the lines to still be blurred, and it's cool to accept that as an adult and figure that out. But I like
with you on
that. I mean, that's the whole point of this story. That's the whole point of going into her brain and going through this adventure and how she's coping through these dark times and how she's coping with her own death. I want to stay in that world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But again, that's the beauty of this poem and kind of bringing it back to, well, kid, if this saves you some crying in this world,
Damn,
that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, because what's the alternative? She lives without her mother and is forced to take care of her. Yeah,
crazy.
And the war. I mean, it's at the end of it, but what you're gonna live with these guerrilla, you know,
become
be a rebel. This kid doesn't deserve that.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and then even it's like also the innocence of the whole thing that she's still just a child living at least a child experience as opposed to being on this like political side where you know it's kind of like even when the general comes up he's like how long did you know her and all this kind of stuff
How long
and
did
she's
you
like
laugh in my face? Yeah.
yeah well I think the line before when he thinks that this girl was in on it you know and she's a child that's also on the rebellion side and you know like she's picking teams and all this kind of stuff when in reality she's not doing anything. She's just trying to be a child. Yeah. She reads her books. She loves her mom. She gets scared of the dark. By the way,
that's why I say that it's this interesting kind of depiction too of maturity because you're gonna force a child out of their innocence this way.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna force a child out of their innocence. All she's trying to do is maintain her adventures, read her books, live in these worlds, live outside her current world.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to her stepfather trying to fucking kill her, it's gone. After that, she will no longer be this innocent child, even if she lives. The innocence will be gone. She will be forced to grow up and take care of her brother and become more of a parent figure and live in a world of war. It'll be come and see.
Yeah, if the child lives, then come and see.
This is what happens.
Shell shocked.
So again, if she gets to die a child, maybe that bittersweet situation is apt. And then I'm willing to live in that reality.
I'm with you.
A bit.
Is this just the tamer version of Come and See?
No, it's the prequel.
Oh, man.
It's the prequel because she doesn't become a rebel war figure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, she's just a kid.
And dies.
I'm sorry, you sad that she died?
Yeah.
No, I think...
But I mean, obviously she...
Huh?
Do you want to talk about it? We
Sure.
can make this a therapy
Imagine
session.
reading a book, you know, and you're...
Dude, never.
That's why me reading a book to you was so fascinating.
Who reads books anymore, you nerd?
What were you saying during the screening? It's like when my kid's gonna ask me to read them a bedtime story,
And you just do a script reading.
It's like call Leo,
Give 'em
and
characters
call
and shit.
Anya Taylor-Joy. It's like, hey, I gotta do it. My kid wants a story. Let's do a table read really quick. Yeah.
But Dad, this is boring.
No.
Yo, you gotta add an accent to it.
Here, play this character.
But Dad,
That's my version of here. Play with this toy. No,
It's homage.
So imagine reading a book.
Imagine reading a book that permeates itself so much in your being that it's your way of coping with the world. Mm-hmm. You know, and this is her life. This is her. You know, she reads books and she loves to read fantasies. And by the way, Del Toro's intention with this entirely, it wasn't meant to be a war picture. It wasn't meant to be a period piece necessarily.
What do you mean?
No, it wasn't. It was meant to depict the fucking negative aspects of war. It's not meant to be a war picture. He wanted this to be a fairy tale. That's it. In its most
And it is.
purest form, a fairy tale. That's what Pan's Labyrinth is, and it's what is to Del Toro. It's a fairy tale.
What would you consider a fairy tale? No killing involved?
No,
I think
there's
it's just-
killing in fairy
Right?
tales.
Yeah, that's what
absolutely.
I think it's just like it's an adventure, you know.
Yeah.
It's going through the.
So it's definitely a fairy tale.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
because I think with the other depictions and what he didn't want it to be, there needs to be this moral in this story. And I mean, kind of like when you think of like the fairy tale of like Humpty Dumpty, it's not meant to be this bigger moral thing. It's just meant to be this silly kind of whimsical story of a giant egg that falls.
Yeah, and look, that's
Doesn't have good
why I
balance.
say that Del Toro's intention was to be a fairy tale because a lot of people will misinterpret that. And for instance, there's already a lot of contradiction in the title. The original title of this film was in Spanish, okay, and it's not a direct translation.
Oh, what?
El laberinto del fauno. That's what
How it should be then.
the direct translation of that is what? The Faun's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
The Faun's Labyrinth. Pan was a Greek mythology figure, an actual Greek mythological creature. Pan, the creature, was a was a sexual being that was darker in tonality. So Del Toro has gone on record to say the faun is not Pan. That's why when you ask during the screen, like, where the fuck is Pan? Who's Pan? Which one's Pan? There's no Pan. Pan is not. There's this faun presents himself as a faun, a creature. I've had many names in my life. He didn't present himself. My name is Pan, little girl. No, there's no Pan. The reason it's called Pan's Labyrinth is because Del Toro in the studio more specifically, thought that people would recognize the creature of Pan more and kind of accept that story and that character, and it would just get the butts in the seats. Because Pan, the creature, in Greek mythology is famous in the States and in Switzerland. It originates from Greek and Rome. People in Rome, the depictions of Pan,
I can see now why they took that
is just that he has goat legs and a human upper body. That's it. That's the most popular. There's different types of fauns in the world, like in mythology, in Roman mythology specifically. There's different fauns. And then like Roman era, they're gods, right? They're these big, tough. Well, the Greek one is a goat figure. That's what
like horns of of a goat or some shit.
Yeah. I mean, there's different versions of it, and Del Toro used like crazy amounts, like 4 or 5 amounts of source material to blend all these versions together.
Yeah.
But the Pan character is not this character. If that makes sense. It's just for the sake of the title in English. It has nothing to do with the actual character itself. And I bring that up because, again, it's a misconception that this film is this. It's meant to be this straight war picture, this straight dark, gritty horror situation, or this. It's not meant to be any of that. It's just meant to be a fairy tale. Like, for crying out loud, there's fairies in it. But to me, the classic fairy tale is an adventure, absolutely, in its most foundational level. But you're also getting these figures where in life, in normal life, a king and a queen is a king and a queen, right? Mm-hmm. A prince and a princess. They're heirs to the throne. That's it. They don't have special powers. They don't have special situations. Their blood makes them famous. That's it. In a fairy tale, they go through this adventure to become the hero. It makes a normal character grand and epic.
I'm thinking of Shrek. I don't know why.
Yeah. Makes an ogre in a swamp a king. Right? Because in Shrek 2, he becomes the king. Yeah, that's what a fairy tale does. Yeah. It makes this little girl the heroine. This little girl in the middle of war has no importance, has no voice in her own family, is like recognized by her mother and her stepfather as a stupid child that's just messing things up. It makes that girl the heroine. That's what a fairy tale does. It gives her the crown at the end. It gives her a throne at the end. And look how beautiful that end scene is, where she's in reality cold, dark, death, surrounded by tears, and she smirks right before the life leaves her body because of what she's experiencing. Gold and golden texture and the cinematography and the faun is at her feet, and I'm your humble servant, and you earned your crown, you earned your place in this kingdom.
That's a fairy tale.
That's a fairy tale. I love it. I love it so much. I love that Toro was able to pull that off this way.
I think before we kind of tie a nice bow on everything, fun to note, and you can see it more in our other episode with Doug Jones. You mentioned that the voice. It's there. Doug Jones. Like, that wasn't his voice.
No, Doug Jones, poor guy. And he told us about this on the podcast.
He did.
He memorized a language that he does not speak, Spanish. He does not speak Spanish, but he memorized the script, not only his lines, but whoever he's speaking to's lines, because he doesn't know what comes. He doesn't know the language. He doesn't know where his lines stop and start.
And you can see we have a fuller conversation, but he even mentioned to us that... Because I think you asked, or one of us asked, did you just kind of memorize what to say? And he's like, no, I had to learn the language. I had to understand it because I had to get the right tonality.
He didn't even understand, quote unquote, the language. He memorized the script, in full.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like Will Smith in Fresh Prince, where you would see him mouth whoever's talking, you see Will Smith's mouth because he was so nervous as an actor. He never acted before. He would memorize everybody's lines to know when his is up.
I've seen a couple.
That's kind of what Doug Jones had to do. He never learned the language, and I say this because I also read that he was the only American on set. He was the only English-speaking person on set. They shot in Spain. They shot at this abandoned city, this city that was torn by the war.
Oh, really?
That was just never rebuilt.
I like that.
Terry Gilliam, the Monty Python, shot a film there also in the 80s or in the 70s. But Doug Jones was the only English-speaking person there. Del Toro was the only bilingual person there, and everybody else spoke Spanish. So, like,
directly with
he had to, but what they're grateful for is that Del Toro ended up hiring this theater actor to do the voice. I forget his name. His name is, I'm sure it's somewhere in there. But he ended up hiring this theater actor. He loved how it sounded. And he was very grateful for Doug doing the voice on film because it created this natural, organic conversation with the little girl who's a child actor who needs to feed off of somebody because she's a child actor. And at the same time, it made it substantially easier for the voiceover to be recorded.
That's the guys.
Pablo Adan. Yeah.
You know what? I don't know how that makes me feel like if I was Doug Jones. It's like, you know, that person
He
that...
told us he's been used to it. They did it to him in Hellboy also.
True. I do remember that too, yeah.
Because he memorizes all the lines and everything, and that's why, you know, he's a full actor that deserves all the praise because he goes through the training and he goes through the process to encompass that role. But a lot of times they would say, oh, well, we can't sell it if it's just your name.
And imagine this sweet man who we know.
I know, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Even the guy, the guy that plays the captain, Sergi Lopez.
Captain Vital.
Del Toro asked him to make his voice an octave lower and speak more mechanically for the role. That guy's a comedy actor.
What? No, I would never.
That guy's
in a
a
million years.
comedy actor.
Wow.
I hated him the whole film. I was like, you son of a...
But he's convincing that way. But again, my point is, Doug Jones is the sweetest man in the world. What do we call him? The heart of humanity or the...
Yeah.
I mean, this,
this
man is the sweetest man, and his voice is a reflection of that too. He may be the, like, lanky, creepy, could walk around and convince you that he's this creature guy. But when you speak to him, he has this warmth about him.
Just
and
humble,
imagine the fauna being like, Doug Jones, jazz hands. I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying?
No, yeah,
Hey, you gotta steal a baby.
Yeah. It's just again, I could potentially understand Del Toro's choice here.
No, yeah, for sure.
Because the
But
Fawn's
Delal's
very
right. Doug Jones deserves all the credit, man, because he memorized. He went through for the Pell Man. This poor man had to look through the nose holes to not fall over.
Yeah.
While he's in costume. The horns on the Found's costume were 10 pounds each.
God damn.
So they had to be applied last and could probably do 2-3 takes before they fucking make a set.
Yeah.
Has to do the thing.
And they digitally removed Doug's legs in the Found costume because they made it to where it's practical, but they didn't want him on stilts or they didn't want to green screen everything. So Del Toro just made this, they created this situation where he could just walk on this mechanical situation, and then they were just going to take out his legs digitally. I mean, like, Doug Jones, like...
I feel bad because I don't feel like he gets the recognition.
But you know what's
Definitely
great?
deserves it.
You know what's great? And, I mean, we also brought it up there. He just recently won an award for his role in Star Trek.
Yeah.
And... if you see him there, it's his voice, it's his performance, and even though it's an alien creature, he's able to put all the emotion and intentionality and everything.
We talked about the Taika Waititi show. What we do in the shadows?
Yeah,
where he plays a human with no makeup and no prosthetics, and he's like, how happy that makes me to finally play a role where I can show my face and my performance.
After years of
yeah. So I feel like these are the earlier ones where it was like, oh, we can't sell you yet, but then it's building up. Like I think he's finally getting that recognition that he deserves because. Yeah, no, all these roles are. I mean, they're so iconic, you know.
Yeah. And who would ever thought it was Doug Jones, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
but go check that episode out if you haven't. But we have a great time about it. We dive deeper into Doug Jones' filmography. He also just played Nosferatu, which he told us about. Remember? Not Eggers.
Oh, okay.
He told us this. Yeah. Not Eggers' Nosferatu, but he got to play the character of Nosferatu, which is no small feat.
Even Legion. Oh my God, he's like
He did amazingly. That's the new show, by the way. That's not the movie.
Next time.
Yeah, go check out Pan's Labyrinth if you have. It's terrific,
yes,
and the Toro's absolutely one of these guys who like. I have friends that have met him, and Doug obviously also has spoken very highly of him. But they basically say that he's a mensch, you know, like he's, and especially to Mexican individuals, Mexican filmmakers especially. He just loves his culture and loves people, and he's just a great guy. So I'd love to talk to him on this podcast at one point, and again, Guillermo del Toro is just one of our heroes too, just on a crazy level. So
I remember one thing, and just out of nowhere. I remember when the film started, I forgot how beautiful our language is. I'm so used to watching films in English, and obviously a couple of Koreans, but man, it's such a beautiful language when you use it in the right tone and in that tasteful way.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's Guillermo del Toro, right? In this one,
he wrote it. Yeah,
but was it his voice at the beginning?
No, I don't think if I'm not mistaken, it's the same voice as the Faun. No, like it's the narrator is the Faun.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
It's just beautiful.
Terrific.
And everybody that told me to watch it was like, "Yo, watch it in Spanish."
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anybody that would ever watch this thing.
I just got told her, I was like, "Yo, you gotta watch."
Oh, that's another thing. Del Toro personally oversaw the subtitles of this film.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Personally, because he hated how his other films were translated into English. So he personally oversees his own subtitle translation.
Oh, man,
and it started with this film.
The subtitles were really on par. Like you all the emotions and intentions and all that kind of stuff. It really does come through. It's not just like these awkward translations that we've seen before.
Yeah,
I've heard of this one.
So next week, again, we're still in requester month. My lovely wife. It's her birthday next week, and
Happy birthday, Sandra!
Happy birthday, Sandra! And we asked, what do you want to do? What would you like your request to be? And she's thinking about it. And she kind of got to a point where she was overthinking.
And then she woke up 2 a.m. and then just screamed the name of a film and then went back to bed.
Now we're going to be covering in her birthday honor. Alfonso Arau is 1992 adaptations. This is based on a novel, Like Water for Chocolate.
I've only heard about.
We're talking about Like Water for Chocolate. It's a great Mexican film, man. It's a great Mexican story in general, even as a book. And they actually just remade it into a series that is actually really good. I love my wife. She was like, I'm really sad because we started watching it together, and I was kind of like, I'm good. Not digging it. Wow. It's cool. It's good. It's just not. I don't like series right now. I'm good. And she watched the whole thing. And then she was like, I'm kind of sad because I always thought you'd be the one to remake Like Water for Chocolate. Because I love this film. I think it's terrific. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. I didn't. I wasn't sad until now. Thanks. Like,
you're still good, man.
It's just great. But it is a great film in and of itself. And we actually spoke to Steve Bernstein on this podcast, on the Towercast.
Yes, we did.
Steve Bernstein was the co-DP of this. The other co-DP was Chivo. And he tells us a great story about meeting this kid who wasn't Chivo yet, and how this was his first co-DP kind of situation. So we'll talk about Chivo's cinematography contributions, and who knows, I might even try to see if Steve Bernstein will want to give a little comment on this film for us. Like Water for Chocolate. We'll be covering Like Water for Chocolate as part of our request month next week.
Yeah.
And then I have no idea what we're doing at the end. We'll talk about.
Maybe somebody gives us a new request.
Yeah.
Could be you.
Tell people about the show. Let people know that we're taking requests. And who knows? Maybe we'll cover your film next.
And then in February, we have our little Oscars build-up.
That's going to be crazy.
By the way, speaking of which, I just read that Oscar voting has been pushed back till the 19th because of the fires in LA right now.
Oh, has that ever happened? Did they change?
Yeah, I'm sure it's
It does
had, but
happen.
not like this.
No,
right?
yeah, obviously, but
Wow.
Yeah, even Oscars voting is like
Everything.
crazy.
No, our hearts go out to them.
So our hearts go out to it, and again, February we'll cover the Oscars and let us know what you guys want us to talk about.
comment,
a lot of
comment,
great
like.
films this year. The Golden Globes just passed and give us a little bit of an indication of what things may look like. All the Critics' Choice Association stuff's coming out. It's a good year. It's a good year. So let's talk about it.
I don't feel like I've seen anything.
Yeah,
Same.
I've been trying to also, but
No, I think you guys have been good as far as like catching them like when you can and like here and there. I just I'm excited for Oscars month because that's when we do our like last year we had our checklist.
It's like draft day, right? It's like it's our Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So where they're like, all right, what films are we going to see these together?
Oh man, but I remember like the
Where do you
first
think this
day
was going?
when we had our like the checklist.
Yeah.
I remember we put it up on the board and then we had all of our names and then it was like, okay, like we're like I've seen one and then
yeah.
you were like, oh no, I've seen two. And then Carlos like, I'm missing half of one. Like and then it'd be like, oh damn.
Oh man.
No, I haven't been that good this year too. Like I haven't seen The Substance,
say that
which is
now.
going to get some buzz.
Did she win? Demi Moore?
It didn't win anything.
Demi Moore won? Didn't she win something?
Did she?
Yeah, I saw her winning something.
She presented. I don't think The Substance got any love.
I'm
It
pretty
got
sure
nominated for everything, but I don't think it got any love at the Globes.
yeah, I think she was like even crying and everything.
Yeah.
Let me
No,
see.
because I saw that Emilia Perez, Zoe Saldana won for Best Actress.
Oh, okay.
But that may have been for comedy or musical, so The Substance is more of a thriller genre.
I thought I saw her receiving an award.
I was kind of sad because Mikey Madison didn't win, and that's who I want to win the Oscar this year.
For which one?
Honora.
Oh, there.
Oh.
Look, she won for best performance. I can't really read.
Oh, for musical or comedy?
I can't read, dude.
Yeah.
Who, Demi Moore?
Yeah.
So then what did Zoe Saldana win for? She won. I saw
there
her
we go.
win.
So I saw Demi Moore win.
Zoe Saldana won for Emilia Perez. Was it supporting?
Oh wait.
Oh, I love her.
What was she in this year?
Emilia Perez. Getting
Oh.
a ton of buzz. Selena Gomez. It's a musical.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man,
heard
of it.
I've had so much respect for her because I've seen that she.
Supporting. It was supporting. Wow. Go figure.
No, I've had a lot of respect for her because one of her first major roles was in Pirates of the Caribbean, and she talks about how when she was there, Johnny Depp just gave her no respect. And like,
man.
yeah, like they're like, oh, sure, he was in character and all that kind of stuff. But, she was really excited to work with him and really excited to like.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
She was in the first one and she was one of the female pirates when he like was dealing with all of them.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, or when he was getting his crew together.
You know what I remember seeing her in? Like, in my first. That Britney Spears movie, Crossroads?
Oh,
She
man.
comes out in that?
She's, like, really good in that.
Wow.
Yeah. But she's one of the ones that like. What weird places to.
She's also just Gamora on Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Anyways, Oscars. We'll talk about it. Thank you for tuning into the WatchTower Film Podcast. Let us know if you have any requests. Like, subscribe, share.
Oh.
And
We're very much workshopping all this month. Like we've improved Austin. Now he has a light. It's really
we
nice.
actually improved quite a bit.
Yeah,
that
so
you
we're
don't
constantly
see.
tweaking. But if you have any suggestions or think like want to say anything, please let us know.
Yeah.
We're
Absolutely.
we're really trying to
We take
make this
great
as
pride
great
in-
as it can be. So
this
yeah.
podcast.
But thank you guys for tuning in. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
And just like Bernard, real quick. Like.
Do it!
Love you guys.
Give us your best cat moaning voice.
I already did it, bro. He's gonna clip it and just fucking loop it.